This could change absolutely everything for the San Francisco Giants as news breaks out of San Diego that could affect the decision that Buster Posey has to make in the coming weeks, affecting who the next manager of the San Francisco Giants is going to be. Welcome back to SF Giants Digest. This is where you're going to find all your offseason news, reports here revolving free agents, who the next manager is going to be, trades, everything of that sort you will find here. So make sure to go down below and hit that subscribe button as we get the offseason started. Obviously, the playoffs are going on. Blue Jays, Mariners, Dodgers, Brewers fans are all excited. But for us fans not in the playoffs, we have other things to worry about. And for Giants fans, it is that managerial search. And today we have news that seriously could affect who is going to be on that top step for the Giants heading into 2026. Now, just this morning, we got news out of San Diego that Padres manager Mike Schildt announces his retirement. He spent 2 seasons with the Padres. He took over for Bob Melvin when he left San Diego to come to the Giants and had a pretty successful tenure there, even though it was shorter, only 2 years. He left on his own terms. He wasn't, kicked out of there from what we know right now. He made the playoffs. I believe he retired with the highest winning percentage in terms of managers in the history of the San Diego Padres. So definitely a lot more success for Mike Schildt in San Diego than Bob Melvin could say during his tenure in San Francisco. But a lot of Giants fans just thought this was kind of funny. There's a lot of managerial openings across Major League Baseball right now. I want to say this is the most openings there's been in an offseason in recent memory. I can't remember one in a long time where we've had this many teams searching for a manager. But this one specifically could really affect who the Giants could hire as their skipper heading into 2026. Now, immediately after this news broke, I put out this tweet saying, Nick Hundley lives in San Diego, FYI. Family has been made a reason why Hundley wasn't sure about the job, something Giants fans should keep an eye on. And I do think this is something that a lot of Giants fans either haven't thought about or are wanting to ignore, simply because of the fact that Nick Hundley has been the frontrunner really since the news broke of Bob Melvin being let go. And it really seemed like any day now Nick Hundley is going to be named the Giants manager. While nothing is for sure, that just seems like the way it was heading. But this is something that could change that direction. Just a few days ago, actually, Andrew Bagley put out this piece for The Athletic saying Hundley, 42, lives near San Diego with his wife, Amy, and 2 young daughters, 12-year-old Allie, who has type 1 diabetes, and 9-year-old Haley. 2 years ago, before the Giants hired Bob Melvin, Hundley cited his family situation and his contentment working for Chris Young with the Rangers when he turned down the invitation to interview for the position. It goes on to mention about some charitable things he does in Uganda, building schools, some very good stuff from Nick Hundley. But the focus of this little paragraph is the fact that his family situation was made a point in the reason for him not even wanting to interview for the job back in 2023 before they brought in Bob Melvin. And it really does seem like that could be the reason why he hasn't necessarily accepted the job right now in the middle of October when the Giants are waiting to name their next manager. It's been very, very well known that Buster Posey and Nick Hundley are best friends. It's even been said back in 2019 when Nick Hundley signed with the A's and going into his last year in Major League Baseball, he called Buster Posey one of the best teammates he's ever had. I believe Buster Posey called Nick Hundley his best friend. It was that or vice versa, but it is very clear that Nick Hundley and Buster Posey have had a very good relationship. Because of that, it really seems like Nick Hundley's family situation in San Diego, his 2 daughters, his whole family down there, it seems like that is the reason he has been, hesitant to accept the job with the Giants if it's been offered. This is all hypothetical, but you'd assume that he's right there with the top of the candidates for the Giants, and there's something holding back him being named the next manager of the San Francisco Giants, and I would have to think that it is because of the family. That is the reason he didn't interview in 2023, and that's especially interesting because the Giants were pretty outspoken on the fact that they really wanted to interview Nick Hundley heading into that 2023 offseason, but he declined, and as we know now from Andrew Bagley, it is because of family situations. So this begs the question, is Nick Hundley going to, drive down the road and interview with the San Diego Padres for their manager opening? that is something that could seriously affect the Giants opening with their manager, who then becomes the front runner. Is it Kurt Suzuki, who we know interviewed? Is it Tony Vitello, who we know has had a little bit of interest from the front office? Craig Albernaz, who's a guy who is right under Stephen Vogt in Cleveland, who is having a lot of success in Cleveland in just 2 years. Stephen Vogt is a guy who we know the Giants had a lot of interest in 2023 before picking Bob Melvin and before Cleveland hired Stephen Vogt. And I want to say the Giants cannot have that situation happen again. They cannot lose out on a former backstop catcher who they had a lot of interest in bringing the manager, and then losing out to them and him becoming a very successful manager, especially because of the fact that the Padres are in your division and you're going to be playing them a lot over the next couple of years while he would hypothetically be the manager of the Padres. That is a big deal, and that is something that the Giants can't afford to happen. Buster Posey absolutely needs to get this hire right. This could be the only manager he hires during his tenure as the Giants president of baseball operation. It all depends if they win, how this manager does, how Buster Posey does in that role. But this is a very big decision for the future Hall of Famer, the former backstop of the San Francisco Giants. Now that is going to do it for this video. I know it was a bit of a shorter one, but not a lot to discuss here. It's pretty straightforward. Nick Hundley could drive right down the road in San Diego and interview for the position, and then the Giants could be out of their, the front runner of their managerial race. But we will see what happens over the next few weeks. Make sure to leave a comment down below and let me know who you think hires Nick Hundley as their next manager. You think it's the Giants? Do you think it's the Padres? Or do you think he's not even interested in managing right now? Do you think he waits a couple more years before being named the manager of a ball club? Let me know what you think down in the comments, and make sure to subscribe to SF Giants Digest.